October 7th. And how do you recognize and identify what side to be on in the Palestine-Gaza-Israeli war? This is a war. What Hamas did by executing over 1,000 Israeli, German, American citizens, other nationalities on the 7th of October resulted in a declaration of war by Israel on Hamas. Now let's break this down, because it really comes down to good versus evil. Now, if you're a Palestinian, the vast majority of Palestinians believe that Israel is the oppressor. And we really need to look into history to ask ourselves, is that true or not? The protests that we are seeing at our universities is really a national disgrace, because these students have not been educated one iota into real history. So in about a minute, let's summarize that real history. Prior to World War II, the Mufti, a Muslim that was in Jerusalem, and they had a blueprint of a state of Palestine that had no room for the Jewish people at all. So the Mufti formed an alliance with the Nazis, with Adolf Hitler, to accomplish two objectives. One objective was to keep Germany, the Nazis, out of the Middle East. And Hitler promised. He said, okay, I will. And the second objective was for Germany, the new emerging power, to recognize Palestine as a state. And we all know history. That fell apart. Third Reich went away. And so did this dream that the Palestinians had of global recognition of Palestine as a state. So about 3 years later, in 1948, the UN comes up with a two-state solution. And this is never talked about today in the media. I've not heard one talking head talk about this, that Palestine rejected. Palestine has always rejected the presence of any Jew in the Middle East. So naturally, they do not favor a two-state solution. Their idea of a two-state solution is placing Israel in a different country. And Israel has never not agreed to a two-state solution. So they can live side by side with Palestine. The Palestinians cannot live side by side. Okay, that's the first indication of evil. The second indication of evil is the population of Israel. 20% of the population of Israel are Palestinians that live peacefully with their Jewish neighbors in cities. And they have Palestinians within the government of Israel. How many, since there is no state of Palestine, we have to look at Gaza and Lebanon. How many Jews live in Lebanon? There's about 20. And these are all elderly Jewish people who were most likely born there. They're not leaving where they were born. But that number is down to 20. And then you look at Gaza. How many Jewish people live in Gaza? 0, goose eggs, because they're not wanted in Gaza. So that is how you identify evil, okay? If there is no good force, I would say, right? Category of people, society that claims to be good, that cannot coexist with other people, okay? What cannot coexist with other people is evil, right? If you are an evil society and you reject a two-state solution, I mean, that's just, you're within that basket. And if you can't see that, if you're in that basket and you can't see that, then you have to examine your own hatred, right? In America, it's funny to me that in the left, everybody preaches tolerance, but when there's zero tolerance from Palestine and forming a two-state solution, I mean, what, they throw that out the window? It just makes no sense to me. So we are prepared for a very brutal retribution by Israel, not on Palestinians, but they will suffer the most. They are suffering the most. because Israel is withholding medical aid until all the hostages are returned, right? So Hamas, being a brutal organization, they don't care about Palestinians. They don't care about people that need medical help. That's evil, right? And the fact that Hamas did this, which I believe was to draw Iran into this conflict, you know, they've instigated something that they hope ignites like a firestorm. That's what they're pushing for here. So it's very clear, you know, if anyone is struggling with what side to take, examine history, examine who can tolerate the other, and the outcome should be obvious. So this is my opinion on how to identify good versus evil. This is a Cold War sailor out.